Meet me in child's pose, a place where you can relax, reset, and find your breath. So often we move through our lives with the seriousness. It's part of growing up and getting older. It's part of being an adult, finding the routine and the structure, the steady and the strong. But this life is without balance if we don't also invite the joyfulness, the bliss, the ease, and the playfulness that we had growing up as children. So let's bring that playfulness to this practice. So when you're ready, meet me in downward facing dog. Find your yogi hands, fingers fanned out wide. And with those strong hands, take a step or hop to the top of your mat. For a chest expansion, interlace your hands behind your lower back, bend your knees as much as you need to, press your knuckles up to the ceiling. And remember, play. Even in this pose, poses that seem so mundane, what can you do to add a little bit to it? Bend your knees, shake out your head, rock out to the music, smile, always smile. Now release your hands. Toe heel your feet together to touch and find halfway lift. Big inhale. Exhale to forward fold. For 3 traditional sun salutation A's, mountain pose, come all the way up. Then as you exhale, forward fold, come all the way down. Halfway lift to lengthen your spine, inhale. Then exhale, plant your hands, step your feet back, chaturanga, high to low plank, elbows graze your ribs as you lower down. Upward facing dog, inhale, open and shine through your heart. Send it back to downward facing dog. Let your core lead you. Inhale, look up, bend your knees. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Fewer cues this time. Halfway lift. Then forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga, high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Everything is smiling. Send it back to downward facing dog. Last time through, smile the whole time. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step or hop, top of the mat. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Forward fold as you breathe out. Mountain pose. Forward fold. Keep your feet about hip distance. Then bend your knees as you sit back into a chair pose. With your feet hip distance, your knees will also be hip distance. Sit low into your hips and reach your arms overhead as you relax your shoulders. Big inhale. Exhale to forward fold. With a deep bend in your knees, place your hands on the mat in front of your toes, setting up for a crow pose. And remember, you can always skip or modify anything that doesn't serve you today. But if you're ready, set up your crow, set your gaze, lift your feet, inhale. And exhale, shoot your feet to the back of your mat and land in a low plank. Oh, good job. Upward facing dog as you breathe in. Send it back, downward facing dog as you breathe out. Let's try that again. Inhale, look up to your hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Keep your feet hip distance. Forward fold as you breathe out. Then inhale to sit deep into your chair pose with your feet still hip distance. Exhale to forward fold and set up your crow pose. Inhale as you find your crow. Exhale as you launch your feet back into your low plank. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Inhale, look up to your hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Keep your feet hip distance. Forward fold as you breathe out. Then inhale to sit deep into your chair pose with your feet still hip distance. Exhale to forward fold and set up your crow pose. Inhale as you find your crow. Exhale as you launch your feet back into your low plank. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. And then inhale to reach your right leg high. Exhale, set up half pigeon. With your right knee towards your right wrist, your right ankle towards your left wrist. Sink into your hips and forget about trying to get your shin parallel to the front of your mat. I want you to focus instead on getting your hips squared off to the front of your mat. And then you can sink into your variation of half pigeon. And by that, I mean whatever variation just feels really, really good for you. This is a place to give into gravity. So focus on a smooth, slow breath. With each exhale, releasing tension, softening, and melting into this pose. One more big breath in, and big breath out. And slowly rise, coming back to your down dog. Then reach your left leg high, setting up half pigeon on your left side. Left knee towards your left wrist, left ankle towards your right wrist. Shin is wherever it is on your mat, as long as your hips are squared off to the top of your mat. So if you had headlights on your hip bones, they would be shining directly forward. And whenever you're practicing something that is especially challenging for you, just remember that we all started as tiny infants. And if you saw a baby who was learning how to walk stumble and fall, chances are you'd give that baby a big smile and encourage her to keep going, to get up and try again. Because you know that with practice and persistence, she'll learn to walk and it'll become easy. Same thing with you. Make your way back to your downward facing dog. With your inner child ready to play, inhale, look up to your hands, bend your knees. Exhale, hop to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. That just lengthens your spine. Inhale to mountain pose, bring your right knee up, and then set up a figure four. Right ankle to your left knee, hands to your heart. Get nice and low. Setting up for perching pigeon. Sit so deep into your hips that you can squat down and place your hands down on your mat in front of you, shoulder distance apart. You'll place your right shin across your triceps and even hook your right toes around your left arm. Set your gaze out in front of you and remember that all variations of this pose are the variations of this pose. There is no single perching pigeon. You're doing it. So from here, find your breath. Set your gaze and fire up your core as you slowly inch your toes out from underneath you, shifting your weight into your arms and using your core to carry the weight of your lower body. If you find your toes hovering off the mat, then bring your heel towards your glutes. And if you want to take this one step further, really challenge yourself, work on straightening out your right leg behind you for a flying pigeon. Wherever you are, have fun with it and feel free to play for the next full minute. Now shake it out before we switch sides. Coming back into your mountain pose. This time, left knee lifts, bring your hands to heart center and sit back into a figure 4 with your left ankle to your right knee. Sit back nice and deep and plant your hands out in front of you. Setting up for your perching pigeon. Yogi hands, fingers fanned out wide. Hands are never strained before you get into this pose. So if they are, then just back off and try again another day. Otherwise, from here, you will bend your elbows back like chaturanga arms, like you're moving into a crow pose, but your left shin will lay across your triceps. Your left toes will curl over your right arm. And not only are you going to be using your core strength to help lift in this pose, but also press your left shin into your arms to help give you even more lift. Wherever you are, if your toes are down or if your toes are lifting or if your toes are flying, take the next minute to breathe and play. Shake it out and make your way to down dog. Press your chest towards your thighs. Reach your hips high and back. Meet me in child's pose. Any variation that serves you, a place where you can relax, reset, and find your breath. Namaste.